Welcome to Bizzflo Tutorials video series on staff and resources. In this video, we will explore roles, permissions, and constraints that can be applied to staff members. Specifically, we will cover access restrictions, login permissions, and platform access limitations. To begin, navigate to Setup, Manage Users and Resources. Alternatively, you can access it via the Resource button located on the top banner. Next, proceed to the staff list. Here you will see various roles assigned to staff members. Understanding default roles. Bizzflo provides 3 predefined roles as explored in the previous video in our series. Owner has complete control over the platform. Admin has significant control but with some restrictions imposed by the owner. Admins can manage staff, control access, and oversee key operations. However, certain financial dashboards and other sensitive areas can be restricted by the owner. Staff, a highly restrictive role limited to specific tasks and areas relevant to their responsibilities. For more flexibility, Bizzflo allows the creation of custom roles to manage specific functions beyond these predefined roles. Creating a custom role. To create a custom role, navigate to Roles, Roles Management. Review the roles hierarchy to understand how roles are structured. Click Add New Role and enter a role name, such as Retail Staff or Retail Desk. Once the role is created, go to Role Management Permissions to configure the permissions of the role. The permissions for each role are at your discretion. For dashboard access, enable or disable access to financial elements such as sales summaries, payment statistics, and customer stats. System and calendar access. Define whether system can access the system audit logs, control access to calendars, personal versus organization-wide calendars, set permissions for the appointment management, view, edit, delete, lock slots, etc. Purchases and payment permissions. Control access to purchases and payment functions. Set limitations on issuing discount vouchers, price overrides, applying discounts, and opening cash registers. Restrict actions such as invoice editing or deletion, which may be reserved for accounting teams. Customer relationship management. Manage access to customer information. Define whether the role can view, edit, or delete customer profiles. Activity and marketing permissions. Enable or restrict access to customer activity logs such as emails and text messages. You may find all generic activities on the menu on the left-hand side. You may also open a specific customer and access their activities. Marketing. It's typically unnecessary to allow marketing access for retail staff. However, you may manage permissions for marketing-related functions, including promotions and newsletters. Audit and inventory controls. Set access permissions for inventory audits and serial number searches. Determine whether staff can conduct business-wide or category-specific inventory checks. Queues. These are price tag queues where you can print labels. Typically, retail staff and buyers and procurement staff will have access to this. Reporting access. Control access to different reports categorized under payment reports, staff reports, inventory reports, sales, and miscellaneous reports. Define which reports a role can view. Other categories include setup permissions, which should be very limited for retail staff. Only owners and admins should be creating, editing, and managing membership services and other products. Most, if not all, roles should have access to Bizzflo tutorials and the time clock and FAQs. If you have subscribed to the master catalog, you will see the BMC option. Check-in and onboarding are designed for customers, and it is not necessary to provide retail staff with this option. FFL Bound Book. You may wish to give full access or provide only viewing or kiosk permissions for the FFL bound book. You may also manage the permissions for payment methods for staff. The top-level menu describes the permissions for what staff have access to up here. Remember, you have the discretion to determine the permissions for each role. Assigning roles to staff. Once a custom role is created, it can be assigned to staff members. Navigate to the Staff Resource section, select an employee, change their role to the newly created custom role. Save the changes. Have the employee log out and log back in for the new role permissions to take effect. Controlling staff access to the platform. To enhance security, you can restrict individual staff members' access to the Bizzflo platform based on their location. This ensures that employees can only log in from your business premises rather than from home or while traveling. Given that the platform contains sensitive business data, including customer demographics, financial transactions, and product details, limiting access minimizes the risk of unauthorized data extraction. Setting up IP restrictions. Navigate to Set up Users Resources, Staff List. Locate the staff member whose access you want to restrict. Enable IP restrictions. In the Actions column, click on the shield icon. Please note that unless you are logged in as an owner, you will not be able to see the shield icon or edit IP restrictions. Select Enable IP restrictions. Next, identify your business's public IP address. Open a web browser and search "What is my IP?" Look for the IPv4 address. Copy this public IP address. Configure allowed IPs. Paste the copied IPv4 address into the Allowed IP Addresses field. Save the settings. Once applied, the selected employee will only be able to access the platform when connected to your business network. If they attempt to log in from home or a mobile network, access will be denied. Recommended best practices. Use a static IP address. To avoid frequent IP changes, request a dedicated static IP from your internet service provider. This prevents the need for reconfiguration if the IP address changes automatically over time. Contact your internet service provider and request a business-class static IP. Restrict mobile access. If employees need to use the platform on mobile devices, they must connect to the company's Wi-Fi network rather than their mobile data. The network's public IP must match the one in the allowed list. And that's all for today's video on roles, permissions, and constraints. Thank you for watching.